Gaza is a nest of terror, a place where every layer of life is involved in terrorism. This is the 109th day in the Hamas-Israel war, and I'm Yair Pinto, reporting to you from Israel. Before I begin with the news, I want to ask you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, share the videos on social media, and especially with people you know who pray for Israel. I hope that these videos do more than inform and educate, but that they are also a tool people can use to pray strategically for the situation in Israel and for the peace of Jerusalem. With that in mind, let's jump into the news. When I was recently active in Gaza, in every second house we searched, we found AK-47 rifles and ammunition. Moreover, in almost every orchard or agricultural area, we found a rocket launcher. On almost every street corner, including buildings, housing, children's kindergartens, government offices, or just a shop, there are warehouses storing weapons and ammunition. Underneath all of this are the hundreds of miles of tunnels Hamas has dug to hide its activities from Israel and its own people. The terrorist organization Hamas worked for over a decade to create a terrorist infrastructure that could attack the IDF inside the Gaza Strip. And we, the IDF soldiers, face this serious threat every day. In recent weeks, the Kfir Brigade combat team has been operating in the Khan Yunis region. During the fighting, the forces eliminated dozens of terrorists in raids on Hamas positions, most of which were located inside civilian infrastructure. One operation led to the IDF taking control of the Hamas headquarters in the region. This resulted in the capture of intelligence materials that were useful in planning future operations, bringing the day when the war can end closer and saving the lives of countless IDF soldiers and Gazan civilians. Another IDF operation took place in the Kasbah, or Central Fortified Area, in the Bnei Suwaila neighborhood of Khan Yunis. This operation was successful in uncovering and destroying large quantities of weapons and ammunition that had been stored there, meant to be used against Israel. Machinery used in the production of rockets was also discovered and put out of auction during this operation. Let us hope and pray that in the future, this Kasbah, the center of Khan Yunis, will be like the old city in Jerusalem, a place where tourists come to take pictures and eat shawarma instead of being a place where weapons meant to kill and destroy are stored and manufactured. The IDF also continued security operations in the northern part of the Gaza Strip, including in the area of Darj Tufa. Fighters from the 401st Brigade combat team raided the El Jabri outpost, a Hamas training base. IDF intelligence has identified this base as one of the main centers for terrorist training and operations in the Gaza Strip. The training facilities that the IDF discovered at this base included all the things you'd expect to find at a place designed to train people to fight wars. This included obstacle courses, exercise yards, and firing ranges for personal weapons. But it also included some very impressive features, such as tunnels that would allow trainees to get used to moving and fighting underground, and a swimming pool to simulate attacking Israeli beaches from the sea. The amount of money, labor, planning, and effort needed to build a facility of this complexity and sophistication is staggering to contemplate. I can't help but wonder how much the quality of life enjoyed by the ordinary Gazans might have been improved if the money and effort that was put into building a training base for terrorists had instead been devoted to building homes, schools, grocery stores, hospitals, and other things that everyday people need every day. We'll never know the answer to that question, and in any case, Hamas won't be benefiting from this base anymore either, because the IDF demolished it, and no more terrorists will ever be trained to murder, rape, and destroy the lives of Israeli civilians ever again. This is also true of a large complex of rocket launchers the Kfir Brigade discovered near the training base. There are also anti-craft missiles and launchers in the complex, and while these launchers were being inspected by the troops, Hamas terrorists emerged from a nearby tunnel and attacked, but were swiftly neutralized. An IDF combat engineering unit that set up demolition charges around the complex and blew it all up. No more rockets will be fired into Israel from that complex. But all of this good news does not compensate for the heavy sadness we feel this morning after a report that 21 IDF troops were killed and several others wounded in heavy fighting Monday afternoon. This came a day after 3 soldiers were killed on Sunday. These are not just nameless, faceless soldiers fighting in some far distant land. These are the best of our children, the salt of the earth, in the full sense of the word. Their names are being added to the monument of heroism, and behind each name there is a family who we embrace to our hearts with grief and pain, but also pride. We are proud of them for their heroism and their devotion to this mission, and for loving Israel and the homeland more than they loved their own lives. The names of some of these that were killed in action in the past few days were released on Tuesday morning. They are Sergeant Major in Reserve Matan Lazar, 32 years of age, from Haifa. Sergeant First Class Hader Kapeluk, 23 years old, Squad Commander in the 261st Brigade, from Mevo Beitar. Sergeant Major in Reserves Sergei Gontmacher, 37 years of age, from the 261st Brigade, from Ramat Gan. Sergeant First Class Elkanah Yehuda Safez, 25 years of age, from the 261st Brigade, from Kiryat Arba. Sergeant First Class Yuval Lopez, 27 years of age, from the 205th Brigade, from Alon Shvut. Master Sergeant in Reserves Yoav Levy, 29 years of age, from the 261st Brigade, from Yehud Monoson. Sergeant First Class Nicholas Berger, 22 years of age, from the 261st Brigade, from Jerusalem. Sergeant First Class in Reserves Cedric Garin, 23 years of age, from Tel Aviv. Sergeant Major in Reserves Rafael Elias, 33 years of age, from Pardes Chana. Sergeant Major in Reserves Barak Chaim Ben Valid, 33 years of age, a squad commander in the 261st Brigade, from Rishon LeZion. The rest of the families of the fallen were notified, and their names will be released to the public at a later date. The details of Monday's battle are just beginning to emerge, but it appears that most of the casualties came when Hamas detonated explosives which collapsed the building that the soldiers were in. Heavy fire directed at IDF troops in the area also included RPGs fired at a nearby tank, which resulted in the deaths of 2 of the crew members of the tank. Intense fighting continued in the area for some time, with the IDF ground units calling in air support and managing to eliminate several terrorists and eventually gaining full operational control of the area. This tactical victory will not bring back those who were killed in action. War is not simple, and it's not a game where the winners and the losers shake hands when it's over and move on to the next thing. Many human lives are lost, and no one who goes through it will ever be the same. Human life is very important to us, and we know that every individual soldier is a whole world of its own. Therefore, we will salute the heroes who fought defending the state of Israel, and on behalf of the entire nation, I would like to pray for the healing of the wounded IDF soldiers, and also remember this morning that since the outbreak of the war on the 7th of October 2023, 556 IDF soldiers died. Many were killed by murderous terrorists of Hamas the first day of this war, and many more, 219 to be exact, have been killed in action since the ground operations in the Gaza Strip began. Others have fallen on the border with Lebanon, and still others have been killed while defending against terrorist attacks in Judea and Samaria and Jerusalem. In conclusion, today and every day, I am reminded of Psalm 20 verse 7. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. This is a reminder to all of us about the importance of prayer. Once again, I want to personally ask all of you to pray for me and my fellow IDF soldiers during this time, as well as the border police units and all the civilian first responders, ambulance teams, drivers, firefighters, and all the others who go into harm's way to keep us safe. And don't forget to keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and for Israel during these times. Thank you for helping us sharing the truth.